It takes 8,460 bolts to assemble an automobile and one nut to scatter it all over the road. This sagacious saying is seen on a bumper sticker, refers to drunk driving while under the influence of alcohol. A person is considered drunk when he or she has the blood alcohol level of over 0.8. According to Kathy Cook, the author of the article Drunken Driving, drunk driving related deaths has dropped by almost 50% from 1980 to 1999. Although organizations such as Mothers Against Drunk Driving and laws passed by the federal government has led to the changing of attitudes, drinking and driving still remains a national problem. According to alcoholalert.com, today 1 in 3 people will experience an alcohol-related crash in their lifetime, many of which will result in death. In 2009, alcohol-related accidents killed over 10,000 people and shattered the lives of those left behind. Says ABC News. Run this scenario through your minds. 17-year-old senior and his father are driving to a speech and debate tournament. As they are crossing an intersection, a drunk driver speeds through a red light and, boom, hits their car at very high speeds. This is what happened to Doug Olselton and his father. The other driver walked away with minor injuries and was later arrested. Do you think it's right for innocent people to be injured or killed by irresponsible drinkers looking for a fun time? Today I will convince you that with more severe DUI penalties, more advanced technology in cars, and tougher law enforcement, laws enforcing DUI in Pennsylvania should be harsher. One way Pennsylvania can prevent DUI is having more severe DUI penalties. Currently, 39% of fatalities a year in Pennsylvania are alcohol-related, says alcoholalert.com. Using DUI.drunkdrivinglaws.org, one can find that penalties in Pennsylvania for driving under the influence of alcohol are based on severity, based on the driver's blood alcohol level. The penalty levels also become more severe for multiple offenses. For getting caught with a 0.8 to 0.99 blood alcohol level, drivers are sentenced to 6 months on probation and a $200 fine. For 0.1 to 0.59 blood alcohol level, drivers are sentenced to 2 days minimum in jail and a $500 fine. For a 16 blood alcohol level or higher, drivers are sentenced to 3 days minimum jail and a $100 fine and 12-month license suspension. In Utah, the state with the least drunk driving deaths per year, 17%, have penalties based on the number of offenses a driver has. For the first offense, drivers are sentenced to 2 days minimum jail and a work service program for 48 hours and a $700 fine. For the second offense, drivers are sentenced to 240 hours in jail or 240 hours in a work service program, an $800 fine, and 2-year license suspension, and an ignition interlock device for 3 years. For the third offense, drivers are sentenced to 1,500 hours in jail, a $1,500 fine, a license suspension for 2 years, and an ignition interlock device for 3 years. As you can see, Utah's system is much more effective in keeping intoxicated drivers off the road. If PA uses this penalty system, drunk driving deaths can drop drastically. Along with making penalties more severe, more advanced technology in cars can also help this cause. A sea in advancement has overcome the technology in cars. Now, cars can parallel park themselves and have sensors keeping them from bumping into things. Ignition interlock devices should also come standard in cars. An ignition interlock device, or IID, is a breathalyzer-like mechanism which is installed to the dashboard of vehicles. Before the vehicle can be started, the driver must breathe into the device and it will record the blood alcohol level of the driver. If the driver has a blood alcohol level of over 0.8, then the engine will not start. While the vehicle is being driven, the IID will also ask for another breath test so that the driver cannot just take a friend's blood alcohol test so they can just drive away. If the breath sample is not provided, then the alarms will set off, such as horn honking or flashing lights, but the engine will not turn off because that will create unsafe driving situations. Another piece of technology that should be included in cars are touch sensors on the start button. Sensors on the start button can contain infrared sensors that can detect blood alcohol level through the finger. Bud Zauk says, "It's actually very exciting. It's extremely promising. I view this as a seatbelt for our generation. It has the ability to save lives." These devices can prevent drivers from starting the vehicle, the most important thing. Tougher law enforcement can also stop drunk driving. First, blood alcohol levels should be tested after incidents involving serious injury. Even if the accident causes death or injuries, drivers have slim to no chances of being arrested or even having their blood alcohol level tested. If they go to the emergency room, knowing this, intoxicated drivers who are familiar with drunk driving laws can avoid detection by demanding that they be brought to the hospital. They know that once they make it to the ER, they are home free, says Stephen Simon, Associate Professor of Clinical Education at the University of Minnesota College of Law. Police should also confiscate the vehicles of drunken drivers. Since 1999, New York City has been confiscating vehicles of drunken drivers, including first-time offenders, because they cause 70% of drunk driving fatalities in the U.S. In the first 11 months of the program, drunk driving accidents decreased by 17%. This will deter people from driving drunk. Also, a no-refusal policy should be enacted. In most states, drivers can refuse a breathalyzer test and try to beat the charges in court. Because last year, on New Year's weekend, police in multiple states issued a no-refusal weekend, which did not allow drivers to refuse the drunk driving test. This rule should be enforced year long because it will persecute all drivers who are caught. Harsher laws can help stop DUI. With your help, drunk driving can be stopped. So start petitions, donate money to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and maybe even write letters to the White House. In conclusion, in order to put an end to drunk driving in Pennsylvania, laws enforcing DUI should be harsher by making the penalties more severe, using more advanced technology in cars, and toughening up law enforcement. With drunk drivers off the road, the world would become a much better place, preventing thousands of deaths from happening each year. Why do you think the Jersey Shore crew takes cabs when they go to the club? So they do not have to drive home when they get drunk out of their minds. As Robin B. Stockel once said, automobiles are not ferocious. It is the man who should be feared.